la vuelta. Agua, también. Falla técnica.
Córrele, sí, no, ponle.
Van por ese.
Espérate, hay que hacerlo más para adelante para pegarle. Hay que darle más para adelante para pegarle. Mira, esa es la reja. Esa, tanto las motos, ánimo. Dale. No, ya se pararon. Aguanta. Ya. Chingada su madre. Qué bueno matar eso.
Ya me quedé sin pila. No, vaya. ¿Qué es lo que pasa? No se ve más.
Guadalajara woke up to silence, not the peaceful kind, the kind that follows something so violent the air itself seems hesitant to move. In the mountain town of Tapalpa, tourist shops unlocked their doors like it was another Monday. Workers showed up, coffee brewed, footsteps echoed along cobblestone streets, but beneath the surface, something was off. Gunshots cracked through the air, and in the middle of the street, beside a vehicle riddled with bullets, a body lay motionless. The man who once ruled through fear was gone, but the violence was just beginning. The day before, Mexico had witnessed something that many believe would never happen. After years of pursuit, surveillance, intelligence gathering, and bloodshed, the Mexican army have finally cornered the most powerful drug lord in the country. His name carried weight across continents, a name whispered in border towns, a name printed on international watch lists, a name linked to rivers of fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine flowing into the United States. For years, he operated in shadows, untouchable, or so it seemed. Authorities say they found him in Tapalpa, a picturesque mountain escape known more for tourists and tranquility than gun battles. But this wasn't luck, it wasn't coincidence, it was patience. Officials later revealed they have followed one of his romantic partners to the hideout. A quiet trail, a quiet mistake. When soldiers moved in, everything erupted.
Mexico's most powerful drug kingpin was killed during a military operation. Mexican officials say criminal groups burned cars and trucks to block roads across the country. The State Department is warning Americans to shelter in place. ABC's Melissa Dunn is near the border tonight.
Explosions erupting across Puerto Vallarta tonight. Black smoke seen rising over the resort city on Mexico's Pacific coast. Mexico's military forces launching a daring operation to capture cartel leader Ruben N., known as El Mencho. Multiple cars on fire in the streets. Mexican officials say during their operation, military personnel were attacked. Several cartel members were killed, including El Mencho, the head of the new generation Jalisco cartel, who died while airlifted to a hospital in Mexico City. Mexican authorities say the United States provided complimentary information for their operation. A U.S. defense official telling ABC News Northcom provided information for the raid. The violence forcing the Puerto Vallarta airport to suspend all flights. This stranding many U.S. citizens trying to get home.
Yeah, I mean, at first we were like, what's going on? And then, then you find out, hopefully they lift the ban and we're able to go out.
Border cities like Tijuana are now reporting criminal activity, and the State Department is telling U.S. citizens in impacted areas in Mexico to shelter in place. Lindsay?
Melissa, thank you.
What happened next unfolded in seconds. Gunfire tore through the still mountain air. The cartel leader and 2 bodyguards fled into the woods. Trees splintered. Bullets tore into dirt and bark. No one outside that perimeter knew how close it came, how chaotic it was, how final it would be. By the time it ended, all 3 men were gravely wounded. They were taken into custody, but they never made it to Mexico City. By the next day, confirmation came. The most wanted man in Mexico was dead. For many, it felt like justice. For others, it felt like the beginning of something worse.
Chaos is unfolding in parts of Mexico. It's after the leader of a powerful drug cartel was killed. Now members in that cartel are clashing with the Mexican government. Nemesio Cervantes, also known as El Mencho, was the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. He was killed by Mexico's military during an operation earlier today. The Jalisco Cartel is considered one of the top criminal organizations in Mexico, and that's according to the DEA.
This was one of the most significant actions undertaken in the history of drug trafficking, because we're talking about someone that is almost at the same level as Chapo Guzman and El Mayo Zambada. He's one of the biggest drug capos in the history of drug trafficking around the globe.
Now, this is video from Puerto Vallarta, a popular tourist destination in the country. Members of the cartel have been blocking roads and lighting cars and buildings on fire. U.S. officials say anyone currently in the country should shelter in place. And according to FlightAware, a flight was leaving Puerto Vallarta around 2 this afternoon nonstop and landing at DTW, but that flight has since been canceled.
Within hours, the country changed. Smoke began rising from highways, vehicles burned, roads disappeared under barricades. Cartel gunmen fanned out across states, blocking traffic, igniting chaos. more than 250 roadblocks across 20 states. Cities that had nothing to do with Tapalpa suddenly found themselves frozen in fear. The number began to surface. More than 70 dead. Security forces, suspected cartel members, civilians, but details were scarce. Officials didn't clarify how many died where or under what circumstances. What was clear was that retaliation had begun.
Cartel violence is rocking the nation of Mexico right now. This week, military forces there killed the country's most powerful drug lord known as El Mencho. Mexican officials say more than 70 people have died in the aftermath, including security officers, suspected cartel members, and civilians. No Americans have been injured or killed. We know that from the White House press secretary. The State Department says hundreds of Americans trapped inside Mexico have called the emergency helpline. Some are sharing their stories.
We're in lockdown. We can't leave the hotel. If you do leave, you have to sign a waiver. Anything you do beyond that point is on you, basically.
We were hungry yesterday. We had no food yesterday. Nothing. Nothing was open. It was a terrifying day yesterday. My daughter saw the cartel light a car on fire right in front of us. There was fire all around us. It was terrifying.
Jonathan Hunt with the latest. Jonathan.
Harris, with many Americans still stuck in Mexico, the advice from security experts for those planning to travel, including tens of thousands of college kids planning spring break there in Mexico, the advice very simple: don't do it.
It is extremely dangerous right now. It is completely way too volatile. So I advise anybody who's got children who may be going to Mexico for spring break, reconvene. Hey, take the loss because and the money. It is not worth it. It's not worth your child's life.
And many students are taking that advice, watching the violence unfold and changing their plans as a result.
All of our friends got these awesome deals to go to Puerto Vallarta, and I mean, obviously it's the worst right now, definitely the most sketch, and so they're all canceling it.
I have all my hometown friends from Boulder were booked a trip to Puerto Vallarta through Just College, and it just got canceled, and then we have friends who were supposed to go to PV with their boyfriends, and it all got canceled, and so now everyone's kind of scrambling what to do last minute and trying to get a refund.
Travel advisors say anyone thinking of cancelling plans should act as quickly as possible.
Spring break packages are sold differently than most travel. I always advise people to have travel insurance just in case stuff like this occurs. But if you don't have that, I suggest you call your company right now, or if you booked it independently, airlines, hotels, they should allow you some type of emergency cancellation.
And security experts warn Harris that even if it gets quieter in the next few days, the violence could explode at any time in the next few months, given that so many gangs might now be competing to try to fill the void left by the killing of El Mencho. Harris?
Jonathan Hunt, thank you very much. And a reminder, atop our Faulkner Focus page and my own Harris Faulkner on X and across all platforms are the help numbers for people that you love who may be in Mexico yet to come home.
In another part of Jalisco, soldiers tracked down a high-ranking cartel commander. Authorities say he began coordinating attacks, offering bounties, over $1,000 for every soldier killed. He, too, was also killed. But the damage had already been done. 6 separate attacks claimed the lives of 25 National Guard members. 30 criminal suspects were killed in Jalisco. 4 more in neighboring Michoacán. A prison guard, a state prosecutor's agent, each number representing a family now waiting for answers. And yet, the violence didn't feel finished. It felt suspended, like the pause between lightning and thunder.
A la verga. A la verga! A la verga, güey. Güey, al chile, te lo juro por mi mamá, güey, se escuchó la bala pasar por mi cabeza al chile, güey.
Schools across several states were canceled. Governments warned citizens to stay indoors. The U.S. Embassy advised its personnel to shelter in place across multiple cities. Guadalajara, Mexico's second largest city, was nearly paralyzed. On Sunday, the streets were empty. By Monday morning, cars cautiously began to circulate again, hesitant, testing the waters, but the fears linger. More than 1,000 people were stranded overnight at the Guadalajara Zoo. Families, children, elderly visitors. They had arrived for a normal Sunday outing. They left sleeping on buses, unable to return home because violence has swallowed the highways. The zoo director made a decision. Let them stay inside, safer among animals than on the roads. Outside one of the few open pharmacies, a long line formed. People stood shoulder to shoulder, waiting to buy essentials through a chain door. Food, medicine, water, diapers, baby formula. Jose Luis Ramirez, a therapist, stepped outside for the first time since the violence erupted. He spoke calmly, but the line behind him told another story. He had said civilians needed to stay cool-headed, take things as they come. But how do you take something like this as it comes? Across the city, Irma Hernandez waited for a ride. She normally takes public transportation to work, but buses weren't running. Her employer arranged a private car. Her family stayed home, too scared to leave. She admitted something quietly. She didn't know how she would get home. If something happened again, that uncertainty was everywhere. The White House confirmed the United States provided intelligence support in the operation. Officials applauded Mexico's army. The man who had dominated fentanyl trafficking was gone, one of the most wanted criminals in both countries. For years, pressure had mounted on Mexico to act. Now, the action had come, but the question lingered. Would this weaken the cartel or fracture it into something even more unpredictable? History has shown that when kingpins fall, violence doesn't disappear. It mutates, splits, fights for control, and Mexico has seen this before.
Ay, no. No. Baja la cabeza, baja la cabeza. Ay, no.
Back in Tapalpa, shops remain open. Tourists still walk past the same streets where bullets flew, but the contrast was impossible to ignore. A dead man beside a bullet-riddled vehicle, smoke in the distance, soldiers patrolling roads, life and chaos existing side by side. The leader was gone, but the organization remained, armed, angry, and wounded. For many Mexicans, the fear wasn't about what had already happened. It was about what might come next. Would rival factions rise? Would new leaders prove more ruthless? Would the retaliation continue? Or would this finally break the cycle? No one knew, and that uncertainty was heavier than the gunfire. The death of one man shook an entire nation, but the story doesn't end with his last breath. It begins there, because when a figure this powerful disappears, power doesn't vanish, it shifts, and somewhere in a quiet room, in a wooded hideout, or behind closed doors, someone is already calculating their next move. Tapalpa will return to postcards and tourists. Guadalajara will fill the streets again. Children will go back to school, but the tension remains, because in Mexico's long war against the cartels, the fall of a king doesn't guarantee peace. Sometimes it only opens the door to something even darker, and the country waits, watching, listening for the next shot to ring out. Alright, y'all, there y'all have it, man. That's the crazy story of the continuation of the ongoing war with the cartels down in Mexico. Hey, man, get in that comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Drillers and trappers, we outside trapping and drilling 247. Don't go nowhere. Watch that next video. Gang!